It's that time again. It's time for another Saturday night special where we talk about everything rockhounding related. Hope you guys had a fabulous week. I had some fun. We had some fun this past week, and we'll get into that shortly. However, we need to talk about a company called Cutting Edge Supply. These guys. Now, I'm sure some of you are aware of this company. Maybe you've purchased from them. I've actually purchased from them in the past. I can't say I had a very good experience. Well, it looks like people are having less and less of a good experience with them. There's been a number of posts online as of late of people buying from them and not getting product, no communication, sometimes getting wrong things, not hearing back from them. It seems like, now from what I can tell of this company, they do a lot of drop shipping. So basically, like, that would be like you want something from Diamond Pacific, you want a cab machine, you want a Genie cab machine. Well, you can buy it through Cutting Edge Supply, sometimes a little bit cheaper than elsewhere. And they basically then place that wholesale order with Diamond Pacific, and then Diamond Pacific ships it to you. So they do a lot of that. They do warehouse some of their own material, but the fact that people are reporting not getting product and emailing them, calling them, and not hearing back is a bad sign. That means at some point, either it's going to get better or, it's going to get worse probably. So my advice would be is if you are going to buy from Cutting Edge Supply, to use a credit card, a real credit card, not a debit card, a credit card that you can dispute the charges on it. So if they don't ship, or if you're like, where's my stuff, and you just hear nothing, well, you're not left, screwed, basically. So yeah, it's a shame to see that happen, but generally, if a company is like the cheapest thing around, well, there's a reason for it. And I've purchased from them because they were the cheapest thing around, and it didn't go super well. Some of you recall that I purchased a pair of expandable drum wheels, and it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing with them. Don't buy from them. That's my suggestion. Well, now that is out of the way, we can talk a little bit about this past week. It has been not very nice weather, except, it was in one area. We drove down to a little town out here in eastern Washington that I had never been to before, called Kahlotus. And Kahlotus is kind of a cool little town. Not a whole lot to it, but it's not necessarily about the town. It's what's near the town. And down there, it's generally warmer than it is up here in northeast Washington. This is like southeast Washington. And there's a cool train tunnel that you can walk through. It's formerly a railroad, and it's now part of the Cascade to Palouse Trail, so you can walk on this thing. It's just like a gravel bed. They even pulled the rails out. And I was kind of hoping that the tunnel on the inside you could see the rock, but unfortunately they cemented the whole thing. Sometimes train tunnels, they'll just be like cement on like the tunnel entrances and rock on the inside, but we did manage to find a couple of rocks which on the outside of the train tunnel. Two that I think are pretty cool, and actually these two were found by Sarah. So, and we'll talk about this. All of the rock out there was basalt, and I love basalt. Love basalt. Okay, so right away, you can kind of see here, we have, we got some basalt, and some of this yellow stuff in here, like in this, is non-trinite, which that is a clay group mineral that dries up and will become nothingness, and we'll look at that here shortly. But what I was interested in is this right here. Okay, now I initially saw that and I was like, oh, calcite, that's gonna be calcite, like that's out in the area. And then Sarah found this rock right here. And I saw this and I was like, oh, down here at the bottom, that's going to be calcite. That's going to be calcite. And then up top, we have some opal. All right. So let's hit the lights here real quick. And I will show you what this looks like under the UV light, which is pretty cool. And let's get these off. So this is the first one that I just showed you. I'm going to focus. There we go. So we have that bright green opal glowing on this. I'm using the 254 nanometer shortwave light from Midnight Minerals. And you can see this other one over here. For that one, though, we will switch over to a different shortwave light because I have two. Yeah, sorry. 200 and... Did I say 255? 255 from Midnight. Let's try the 254 from Stymac. There's not going to be that much of a difference, but there will be a little difference. Yeah. Very cool. Now that I see this, I kind of wish I had this out there, and well, maybe it was nighttime. Maybe it was nighttime. That would have been fun. And I didn't try my shortwave. I'm going to try that real quick. Hold up. Hold up. You never know with calcite. And we get nothing. We get a little bit of reaction out of here. All right, turn the lights on. Well, I enjoy finding some stuff like this because you get to look at it. Opal has a lot of different forms that it can take, similar to calcite. You know, we have this white bubbly calcite here. Oh, let's turn this guy on. How about that? So fun to get out and find a couple of interesting rocks. Yeah. And can we flip over to this guy maybe, and we'll look at a little bit of... Can we find some non-trinite here? How about that? I'll show you what I'm talking about here. There we go. We have a little bit of non-trinite right there in the middle. That's that yellow stuff. And we're right there with a little bit of calcite down in towards the bottom. And it's just cool to see. You know, I mean, I do think having the microscope is just, it's a fun thing to have out here in the shop, be able to share it with you, you know. Yeah, that's about that for these guys. I do like the whole process of comparison. And I think once you get into the process of comparisons between different rocks and minerals, we can start to pick out some of the subtle differences of them, and it can be a lot of fun. You can take things that maybe are not super exciting, and they can become more exciting because you have multiple things to look at. And I'm talking about some augite. Now, we went out to the Dottie Hills in western Washington. We've also been up to Cedar Butte in western Oregon. Both are augite localities. And we have two different pieces here. And we are going, we're going to focus. We have two different pieces here. And we will look at them over here. Let's fire that guy up. All right, so the first one is going to be from Cedar Butte. Cedar Butte. We'll get this guy focused in here. And there we go. And you can see some of that olivine on there, that little green. Let's line this up. The little green right in the middle of your screen is olivine that is formed within the cracks of this stuff. If you didn't go watch those two videos, I will throw some links. Kind of cool, and you can really see, you know, we are very much so these black crystal, okay? I like it. Now, if we compare directly to the stuff from the Dottie Hills, well, we have quite the coating of olivine on this while maintaining its like kind of hexagonal structure, which is cool. And you know, underneath it, you can kind of see there it is black under the coating of olivine. But two different minerals, very, two different localities, same mineral, but seeing them side by side is way more interesting than just one on one. Which now that I have a couple of these, I will probably be going to multiple augite localities in the future, because it's just a lot of fun for me. I love that. I love that comparison. If you are a long-time viewer here on the channel, you will know that I have spent a bunch of time while doing rock stuff, mineral stuff, lapidary stuff, and that's just the way it goes, right? That's what I like. I do also like fossils. Now, Sarah likes fossils a little bit more than me, but I'm trying to learn. And keeping with the spirit of comparisons, I brought out some fossils from our past adventures that I could share with you. The thing is, I do not necessarily know a lot about these fossils, and that's okay. But what I will say is that it is important to have the location documented with it. So I don't know what this bone is, but this did come from Moolac Beach on the Oregon coast, and maybe someday I will be able to figure out what this is. Others, I have a more definitive answer to it. This is a piece of shale, and that white line is a graptolite, and it's like their little tentacle leg bit. This comes from the Medellin Falls area of Northeast Washington. It's just cool to see all these side by side, the things that are out there. And I have a trilobite from Utah that I dug up myself. All these are, and well, everything's like self-collected, right? Trilobite. And I believe this is not the actual trilobite. It is like they're molting, right? Because there's no like little eggs. It's like they grow out of it and shed it off. So, speaking of trilobites, this is from the Fish Trap Creek locality of Montana, and really, really little. Can you see? Right there, that's the little trilobite bits. This is fun for me. I'm trying to learn. I've been reading a couple of books on fossils, so I'm gonna get a little bit better. This comes from the Ochako Mountains in central Oregon. And you can see we have some kind of like stick reed here, embedded in whatever this rock is. I can't remember. But I have the location. That's the important part. Stone rose. You gonna focus? Do you hate me? Look at that little flower right there. Outside of Republic, Washington. And my last fossil, which I really like because there's a lot going on with it, and this comes from the outside of the Wheeler High School in Fossil, Oregon, and we got a stick, and we got like I think a metasequoia, and then like some little seeds and stuff. So that's a cool location, and I would recommend that. It's fun to go see, and yeah, just having the comparison between all of these different fossils is kind of cool. And when you have them like all in a display case, it does make it more interesting, I think. For me, it makes it more interesting than just this on the side of the road. It lacks the context, and that's what I really want. I want the context. I want the story behind these things. That's generally the thing that I find missing out of a lot of stuff that I see online, videos, whatever. There's not enough context for me to really like get into it, having more context behind the augite, the fossils, basalt and opal and calcite, and going through tunnels and having fun and getting excited about summertime. Yeah, well, that's all I have for you this week, everybody. Thank you guys so much for being here, hanging out with me in the shop, listening to what I have to say. Go check out the website, currently rockhounding.com. There's a ton of stuff up there that you probably have never seen. And with that said, I will catch you on the next video.